Let's dive into the Builder's Advanced Toolbox. So the first one that I want to discuss is N8N. It's an automation tool where you can link up different tools together, including AI, and stitch them all together and make one beautiful workflow that works automatically and takes over a lot of work for you. N8N is one of my favorite tools, so I'm really excited to show you a little bit what it does, what are the benefits, and how you can use it. So why does N8N exist? Automations become core flow. So as every business has a lot of systems, a lot of repetitive works. So with N8N, you can stitch all these things together and make workflows that work. So let's say it's like the upgraded version of Make, where Make is a little bit more simplistic and focus on different tools. So with N8N, you can do webhooks, you can use AI. It's like way more advanced. I would say the learning curve is steep, but once you get into it, it's basically you can build anything you want and you can even create a whole new business out of it. So the cost scale with volume, N8N, you can set it up for free. You only need some hosting, and then the more you use it, the more it costs, but it's relatively low. It mainly depends on the automation apps that you use. Dependency risk grows. So in this case is if you use other apps, you don't control it. You don't know where it is hosted, and once there's a leak, then everything is gone. With N8N, you host everything inside. So basically you become your own app. The same goes with data sensitivity, right? So a lot of sensitive data is being shared with other apps and tools that you use. With N8N, you completely take control, right? Also, it's really good because with some apps you cannot customize it too much, and with N8N you can just go very deep into it and you can customize everything what you want. So the golden builder rule is control beat convenience. Why I wrote this down is because and it is difficult to use. That's why I put it under the advanced toolbox. But you can control every micro step that you do, right? So basically you own the workflow, you own the data, you have all the customization possibilities that you want, and you can control the execution, and you actually decide the limits. Control beats convenience. My recommendation is not use it for every use case, but use it for the things that actually are more complex and that you can use for the long run. So where is the power from N8N? So it's for long running workflows. You can make very short ones, but the power comes from a lot of logics. If this happens, then this happens, and then in the end you can do a lot of things. So let's say you want to generate a video. Normally you just type into, let's say, VO3 in Gemini. You type it in, I want to have a video or this, or you use Midjourney or whatsoever. And then after that, you download the video, you go to an editing tool yourself, you get another video, you stitch it together, then you edit some subtitles over it, and then you create a thumbnail video, you create some caption, and then you post it on social. With N8N, you can just make everything automated, right? So generation, stitching it together, writing caption, automatically posting, and you don't have to do anything. Right? I have a lot of videos about this on my Instagram channel, so you can check that out as well. Then you have custom integrations. As I said earlier, you want to integrate certain things. This works also very well in the B2B environment, where you have a lot of like specific things where you need to pay attention to. So where Make is limited, N8N excels, right? So with Make, you can make like basic workflows, but with N8N, you can basically do everything. As long as it has an API, you can use it. Internal automation, so a lot of people use it to actually automate processes, which for example can be content creation or ID generation. You can set up automated notification, even a sales outreach agent, whatsoever, you can do everything. Data sensitive flow, so if you have a lot of like sensitive data that you cannot leak or use in other tools, especially for enterprises, this is perfect. Infrastructure level system. So what I mean with that is basically it forms like the foundation of everything. So what you can do, you can build a whole app and then you build a front end for it, like a website, where you fill in information and then shoots it to N8N, and it then generate the final result and even can send you the email and all, right? So custom AI applications, so you can make whole apps from this. I can show you one later though. Why advanced builders choose N8N? So basically, on the one hand, you have speed, right? So typical no coding tools, such as Make, or you can just use like Claude or something to code something together. Cloud is, by the way, advanced, right? I would not say it's the best example because it's basically you have to know some coding. So let's keep it at make, right? Because it's a little bit the opposite. So you don't have to insert any code. You can if you want to, but you can stitch up most of the things together. Also, Zapier, for example, is one. Is basically you can automate workflows. You can select everything, and what they do really well, they pre-select everything beforehand. And then for N8N, let me show you the website as well. You can go very deep. So this is, for example, workflow that you can create. You can for DevOps, you can do sales. These are very simple, but the beautiful thing is what I like is they have a lot of templates, right? So you can just check out whatever you want. Let's say I just click on one, doesn't matter. So this one has 11 different integrations. But this one might be a little bit complex. You can buy it for $12. Most of the stuff is for free, and you can even make a screenshot and copy it, right? This is an example. You cannot zoom in. That's why it's paid. But you can see there are different steps that goes along with it, right? But yeah, N8N is all about control. So it's a little bit slower to start. The learning curve is steep. It has explicit logic, meaning if this happened, then that happens, and you can take full control on that aspect, right? It has a fixed infrastructure cost, so the only thing is you have to set up a server and then it just runs, so you know exactly how much it is. Besides that, you have to pay for some API fees, but most of the time they're even way less than subscription fees. So you save some costs, and it's fully customizable. So you have different automation categories where N8N is mainly used for. So I want to dive a little bit deeper so you understand what can be interesting for you, how you can use it, right? So one is back-end workflow. So if you want to do some data syncing with different sheets, if you want to do some enrichments of pipelines, let's say you have a lot of sales leads coming in, you want to have additional email addresses, you want to have the sheet being cleaned up because a lot of the time it's not correctly written when people submit a form. You can have some scheduled jobs or automated things. You can set up syncs that go automatically, like every week, a cleaning of the sheets, for example. Orchestration system, so multi-step process, conditional branching, parallel execution. So basically, the beautiful thing is you can create a whole different process and flow and work with that at the same time. And then you can say if this happens, then this happens. So you can separate it out, and at the same time, you can work on different things at the same time. So let's say you want to create content. On one hand, you do one branch or one workflow which is specifically focused on generating ideas. The other one is basically generating videos and adding subtitles, and then in the end you can mash everything together. It's beautiful. Internal tools, so if you want to have some tools that help you, right, you can create dashboards with the information. You can have automated reports, so let's say it fetches all the data from a Google Sheet, then send automated every week a report to the team with the data analyzed, which you don't have to do as a human, right? Integration bridge, so this is where the magic is, I believe. You can use different tools and you can think of workflows together. Let's say for the example that I said earlier, right, you want to full on content production. Every tool has something different, right? So what you want to do, you want to stitch all those tools together instead of doing one by one. And this is where it excels in. So you can do that with APIs. A lot of tools have APIs available. You can use ChatGPT to write the code. So even for me, I'm not a developer and I use like ChatGPT and Grok or Cloud to really find my solutions in the world of coding. I understand basic logic, but writing myself is a little bit complicated, but I managed to get it done, right? You can use webhook or custom endpoint. So basically these are more on the developer side. So reliability systems, right? So automations are more reliable than humans. So it can handle some different errors, it retries. So always make sure to set up some retries when something fails. It goes like that. Let's say you have a website, right? If your website is down for X amount of time, you want to write a report and you want to see where it's coming from instead of your website being down. You can set up this automation and then it automatically sends you a report once it notices that your website is down, where in the past you don't even realize until a customer gets angry on you. So a lot of advantages, a lot of different categories which are very interesting. Okay, so how does N8N things, or how does automation in general works? So you set up a trigger, you create like a node, A node is basically, let's say, like a module or an app or action. Maybe even action is the best one. Then you set up a logic. So what happens if this happens? Then he uses that to output anything that you need in a certain way. So you say, hey, I want to change this into that. And then you have the output, and then you can set up an error pad as well if it doesn't work out, right? So let's just dive into a few that I created, right? One, for example, is roast my landing page, right? So this is one flow. So what it does, it sends automatically, you need to send the URL of your landing page to Telegram. Then it says, for example, hey, the first time is introduction with all the messages inside, right? It says here, welcome to the AI landing page roaster, get a website, please type in URL. So you have the instructions. Additionally, it analyze, right? And then we throw it in ChatGPT. So this is the prompt that you normally add in ChatGPT. And then you add an AI model, you add a form for data collection. So I believe this one is just provide your email address. So we collect it in a Google Sheet, we send the analysis, and then also an email if ever. We also have a fallback message if it doesn't work. So this flow, it's very, I would say it's not too complicated. Here's the result. It's also good to see, right? So start, welcome to the AI landing page roaster. Please type in your URL. So I drop the URL over here. Then it analyzes. Hold on, can you provide your email address? Because we want to fetch the lead, right? Just analyzing it. Here you go. Tagline, row score, everything, right? So in this way, it helps me really analyze my landing page and how I can do it better. But that is basically one. You have so many. I created so many over time. Let's say, what is a good one? Pitch that kill. So this is a combination of N8N, and we actually created also a landing page for this, right? So this is the app, Lovable. This tool I will explain as well, Lovable. Go check it out as well. In combination with N8N, you can basically create your whole new app without knowing any coding, right? So let's just check it out. Publish. Boom. Over here you can see we went through it, but I will explain more about it later. So here, so this is an app, right? So this is the front. What you can do, you can add like a Google slide over here. So let me just fetch one real quickly. Anything is okay right now. But this one I created a while ago. Right, copy, boom. Then we have it over here, right? Upload PPTX, upload PDF at Google Slide. So I had it over here. Roy Sobach. I didn't create this website. This website is fully created with Lovable. I will explain about it later. But this is basically the front website of the N8N automation of basically this one, right? Roy at UI the digital, UI digital. Let's make it seed. Okay. You can see this loading screen is also beautiful. So it says what he's doing. It says his time that it elapsed and also how long it takes, right? So in the meantime, let me go to the flow, right? So in this case, the webhook. So this one I think is linked to the website. Yeah, the Lovable. So you can, then it will edit the fields. It will make sure that the fields are correctly. What kind of file is submitted, he will check because we had 3 different options. We had Google Slide, PPTX, and a PDF. And if it's like this, then follow the PDF, then upload it to Google Drive, download it, extract it from the file, run it through AI over here. And then data collection, send a message because we also want to send the email, and then add the code in JavaScript, which is basically the outcome. Also additionally, right, if it didn't work out, it will also send, and then it will send a message to Telegram. All right, over this, don't look at this because this is the Telegram flow. So this is, it looks more complex than it actually is. Let's see what the result is. So your verdict, 42 out of 100. It gives like a very clear insight what we need to update, the problem, the solution, all the different score, and the top 5 fixes. You can copy it, copy the share link, and submit another deck. It's crazy. Literally built this, I think in one and a half day or so. It is a full functional app that we can actually use. Would be cool actually to launch it in the App Store, but yeah, let's see. All right, so power of N8N. I think you got the gist now. So where does it fit in? So business logic on one hand, you have the company which has all the business inside, and then you want to automate it, and then you have your data and system. So basically it connects these two systems together, right? So N8N is the wrong tool when N8N is not for everyone, right? It's, as you can see, it's complex, the learning curve is steep. But I have to say, with, let's say, ChatGPT or so, you can do a proper job. And there are also a lot of N8N template generators, so they use it as well. I haven't tried out this, but I believe there are some. Okay, so I think you got the point. So there are templates available, you can generate stuff, etc. N8N is the wrong tool when you're still experimenting. You don't want maintenance, because sometimes the more apps you use, the more maintenance you need to have, because sometimes these apps change the code, the APIs, and then you need to change everything because the system will fail. If the volume is low in general, then don't automate anything, because if you have high volume, a very repetitive task, then you need to make sure that you automate it, because it has some benefit for your business. If the logic is super unclear, so if you don't know what happens during the workflow, if this then that, then in that aspect it's not necessary, right? Keep in mind, speed matters more than, if speed matters more than control, then you should not use it, because N8N is slow, but it's very professional and good, right? So that's why I put it also under advanced. I don't want everyone to directly become an expert in this, but it will have a lot of benefits when you do. Let's say if you get into a new phase of your company, it can really matter. So why builders care about N8N? Yeah, it's super cheap, right? Only hosting. It's nice. You're not stuck with all these different tools. Yeah, dependency risk. So you're not dependent about a lot of things. Plus you control all the data yourself, so you don't have to be scared that everything goes away. In that aspect, you have full ownership. You can build your own infrastructure, and it's super scalable. So how to start, right? So if you want to start with N8N, identify a stable workflow, one flow that you already done many times. Define the inputs and output very clearly. Then map it out, right? The same as this one, just write it down. And then expect some setup costs, because you need to spend some time and energy in getting N8N running, right? So I host like a local, I host one on the cloud. I do that via Hostinger. You can type it over here, very easy to do. So basically they can set it up for you, it's cheap, and this is cheaper than doing it from the N8N website, so it's pretty cool. Go back, and then after you set up N8N, you can just set it up by itself. So you write down the whole workflow, and sometimes keep in mind that there can be some extra costs with the APIs, right, from the tools, but the beautiful thing, the APIs are 90% of the time cheaper than actual subscription fees. And then optimize after reliability. Once it works, see how you can improve the workflow, and then work from there. If you still have any questions or so, make sure you ask it. I understand this is a kind of complex tool. It's not that easy and straightforward, but as I said to you, many people, they take this as a core business. They build like all these automations, and then let it flow, right? So this is also, for me, a very powerful tool to learn, and it makes you future proof as well.